It is now my pleasure to turn today's program over to Mr. Chace Jensen. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Loren. So first off, welcome and thank you everyone for joining this webinar on slips, trips, and falls prevention provided by Rubbermaid Commercial Products and MSC. Today in this webinar, we want to take a closer look at some of the most hazardous accidents in the workplace, slips, trips, and falls. To make the most of our time, we'll look to provide useful drivers and trends that impact the workplace safety, cover the major risk of slip and fall accidents, advise on OSHA industry standards, and offer some preventative practices that you can exercise throughout your facility to create a safer work environment. On top of that, we'll highlight one of the newer products, the spill mop, as well as give a high-level overview on the legacy of Rubbermaid Commercial Products. So quickly, the agenda for today will involve introductions of myself and the Rubbermaid Commercial team. We'll take a high-level glance into Rubbermaid Commercial Products with our RCP 101. We'll then jump into our main topics of slips, trips, and falls with our Rubbermaid Commercial expert, Mariah Frederick. And then we'll close it out with a short 3-minute video that will spotlight our newer spill mop product and any questions you guys may have. So I'm Chace Jensen. I am the National Account Manager for Rubbermaid Commercial, and I handle MSC. I have been with Newell Brands, which is our parent company, for just over a year and a half. Mariah Frederick has been with the company for 3 years as a brand marketing manager and has been the marketing and sales lead for the safety category during this time. Vicki Coach, she's been with Newell Brands for 10 years and spent a majority of her tenure on the tools business. Dan Guastali is my manager, and he's had different roles throughout his 9 years with Rubbermaid. All right, so rolling through the next couple of slides, I'd like to give you guys a high-level overview of Rubbermaid Commercial and why we are such strong partners with MSC. So to kick it off, we're proud to say that this is our 50th year in business here at Rubbermaid. At RCP, we've always made every effort to provide solutions that meet the demands of our customers. Our 50-year legacy is backed by the quality of our products, which in turn shows why we're #1 in the U.S. market share in utility refuse, decorative refuse, and traditional floor care, which include things like your mops, brooms, and other equipment. Not only are we #1 in market share, we also hold an 85% brand awareness in the market, which is significantly higher than the nearest competition. For these reasons, this is why we are established as a global leader with products that continuously outperform and outlast our competition. So one of the reasons we've been so successful in our 50 years of business is due to the added value to our products. Rubbermaid Commercial aims to hit on at least 1 or 2 of our 5 fundamentals in everything we do. We look to offer meaningful solutions focused on 5 areas of improvement: productivity, health and wellness, sustainability, aesthetics, and cost and use. These are solutions that we bring to the market so you can feel confident that you're not just buying or selling a product, but you're also solving an issue, whether it be within time reduction, improvements on safety, encouraging recycling, or saving money with a durable product that lasts longer. With that being said, we'll now roll straight into the slips, trips, and falls, and I will turn it over to your subject matter expert, Mariah Frederick.
Thanks, Chace. So as Chace said, I've worked closely on our safety category the last 3 years and helped to develop the product we're going to highlight today, the spill mop. So I want to talk to you guys a bit about slips, trips, and falls and the dangers associated, and also how you guys can prevent and help make facilities safer. So some drivers and trends impacting workplace safety that are really bringing this to the forefront of concern on a lot of people's minds are employee wellness. So healthcare costs are rising. Many employers are setting up workplace programs to improve employee wellness to help combat these rising healthcare costs. There's also an employee-first mindset that's a trend where workplace safety is marking a shift from protecting the company from liability to protecting employees and investing more in safety training for those employees. We really want to put employees first and make sure they're taken care of and their health and wellness is front of mind. And then also there's a safety culture trend where the mindset is that safety is everyone's responsibility. It's not just the employee, it's not just the leadership, it's a whole organizational trend. There should be better safety management and leadership throughout and more safety protection for expanded roles. So those are some of the drivers and trends that are bringing slips, trips, and falls to the forefront of people's minds today. And then slips, trips, and falls. So this is the floor safety product categories that are relevant in the slips, trips, and falls market. So there's a whole assortment of products available today to help protect against slips, trips, and falls. So one category is floor traction and safety. So entrance mats, wet area mats, things like that that are going to help provide traction to the floor so people are not slipping in those areas. There's also absorbents for everything from oil to chemical and biohazard spills to absorb liquids once they're on the floor. Warning signs, obviously, to call attention to hazards as well as barriers to prevent people from crossing into hazards. Personal protective equipment like resistant footwear, again, to help with traction. And then chemicals to remove things like degreaser and strip the floor in areas like the back of house where that's going to be an issue. So here are just some stats around how much of an issue slips, trips, and falls are. So they're the leading cause of death in the workplace. It's a really serious thing, especially in areas like manufacturing or hospitals where people are more at risk when they fall. It's also 20% of all job-related injuries are caused by slips, trips, and falls. It's the number 1 and 2 cause of lost work days. It's also a cost of employee slip and fall accidents are approximately $70 billion a year. So not only is it a huge hazard for health and safety, but it's also costing industries billions of dollars every year in lost work days, as well as injury and compensation from slips and falls. So this is a slide about some of the most frequent risks of slips, trips, and falls. So common injuries include everything from sprains and bruises to fractures and abrasions, and obviously these are occurring on legs, wrists, elbows, back, and shoulders are a prime area that are injured during falls, as well as more seriously head injuries and possibly hip fractures and things like that, again, in more at-risk elderly populations. So slips and falls account for over 1 million emergency room visits a year. So again, it's a huge issue and hazard in the workplace today. So here are some standards from OSHA about what they mandate be done to help prevent slips, trips, and falls. So keeping floors dry and clean, obviously, making sure you have products to do that job effectively. Also, keep passageways clear and there's nothing that could be tripped on, as well as providing warning signs for wet floor areas. You should have one at every entryway in the facility to allow for warnings if the floor does become wet or hazardous, and also keeping exits obviously free from obstruction. So you really want to make sure that you have the right products in place to meet these standards. So more on slips, trips, and falls. More than half of all of them occur on the same level. So this means it's not people falling off uneven surfaces. It's all about the floor being slick and not safe. Obviously, you can trip over things on the same level as well, but it's really about spills and unsafe floor surfaces that don't have a lot of traction. So here are some key areas to watch when it comes to slips, trips, and falls. So again, entryways, people tracking in, especially in the wintertime or during the rainy season, snow and rain, and the door lips, that's an area of danger. There's kitchens where obviously there's oil and grease and drinks being spilled that can be really hard to get up off the floor and can create a slick environment. Dining areas, obviously, especially around drink stations where there's a lot of spillage. And then restrooms, obviously with sinks, toilets, and debris there, that's a huge hazard as well. So this is kind of the life cycle of a spill. So the spill occurs. The first step you need to take is to put out a warning, like a wet floor sign. The second step is to contain the spill, whether that's with a barrier or an absorbent roll. The third step is to clean and absorb the spill, so absorbing and also removing any residue on the floor to make sure that the traction of the floor is restored, and then disposing of those items. So on our products, we're going to highlight the Spill Mop, which we came out with this time last year, and it's a solution for slips, trips, and falls, as you'll see in the video that we'll show, and it's one specifically targeted for spills.
All right. So I want to give a big thank you to everyone that was able to jump on the call. The first slide that showed you is the support team for MSC, and we hope we were able to cover quite a bit of information for you guys in the allotted time. And I will now pass it over to Rebecca Avery to close it out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rebecca Avery. I'm a Category Strategy Manager for this safety product line here at MSC. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you very much to Chace and Mariah and the whole Rubbermaid team for jumping on and helping us out with this webinar today. As a safety professional in the manufacturing industry, it's your job to ensure a safe, hazard-free work environment every day. To help with that, MSC has established our Better MRO site. On this site, you can find anything from articles, infographics, videos, white papers, having to do with everything from fall protection to, like we covered today, slips, chips, and falls. We do have a lot of great content on there from our supplier partner, Rubbermaid, as well. The good thing about this webinar is if you were not able to attend or you'd like to share this with some of your colleagues, a recording of this webinar will actually be hosted on Better MRO. The URL is mscdirect.com/BetterMRO. Thank you again for your time, and at this time we'll open it up to any questions that may have come through.
As a reminder, you may ask questions through your web console. Locate a Q&A panel on the lower right hand of your screen. Type your question in the open area and click Send to submit. And for the audio question, if you would like to ask a question, please press star with the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that is star 1 on your telephone keypad. We will pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. There are no phone questions at the moment. You may continue.
All right, seems like we don't have any questions that came through on the Q&A panel as well. So I just want to say thank you again to Chace and Mariah and the whole Rubbermaid team, and thank you all for everyone who attended today. We will be sending out a thank you email with a link to the recording that you can find on Better MRO. Thank you, guys.